Well, I'm still with Donald Trump. I'm not with Donald Trump. I'm with Russell Quirk.
Wow.
I wish I was with Donald. No offence,
thanks.
Russell, but I wish I was with Donald Trump because
I won't be offended.
He's a straight shooter, as the president of Colombia found out. Now, as you saw, we've seen lots of pictures of various handcuffed deportees, various criminals, crooks, rapists, murderers being deported from America to their home country. Lots of countries, Mexico, the South American countries, Guatemala. Now, 2 planes over the weekend took off for Colombia. And the Colombian president, when they arrived, said that they can't land here because these were military planes, and this was not dignified enough for his citizens. He said they're not criminals. Well, yeah, they are actually. They are criminals. They absolutely are criminals. And he said they're not landing. What a ridiculous thing to have a row about, by the way, the type of plane they were.
It's political posturing, isn't it?
So Trump found out about this, as I said, on the 6th hole of a round of golf yesterday.
In Miami.
He said, do you tell that guy, Gustavo Petro, he said, I'm now slapping 25% tariffs on all Colombian goods, all Colombian trading with America, and he's going to do exactly what I tell him. He is going to take our migrants, or in a week's time that will double to 50%. Within about half an hour, the impressive Gustavo Petro completely caved in, offered his own presidential plane to pick up Colombian migrants from now on, but who cares what plane they get picked up in, to be honest with you, and completely accepted everything that Donald Trump said. That's how to do it, isn't it?
It is, and Trump is obviously, particularly in the wake of that success, going to use that particular play more and more and more. He'll use it with the Canadians, I suspect. He'll use it in many, many respects. Whether it's also, I mean, he's already threatened, hasn't he, to pull out of NATO if European countries don't pay their way in terms of their 5% of GDP. So I suspect he will just do that, because there's certainly no sign of us doing that here. I think yesterday I heard that Keir Starmer has said that we won't even get to 2.5% before 2032. So Trump is definitely going to use tariffs and also expelling diplomats, closing down embassies, and all sorts of tactics to get his own way. I mean, isn't it refreshing that we've now got a decisive and bold leader, albeit it's not one of ours here, unfortunately?
Yeah, he just does things his own way. Now, this is a thing. This bloke, this guy, he's a socialist who's plunged his country into unprecedented poverty. The poverty rates in Colombia are off the scale. I'm going to look it up in a minute, but something like a fair percentage of the country exists on just over $2 per day. That's how much they have to struggle by on. There's a lot of poverty caused by this guy. And of course, as socialists always do, they always cause great poverty because their economics are balmy. Anyway, this guy, while Donald Trump's knocking him all over the golf course, 45 minutes it took Donald Trump to get this guy Petro to come into line, but he still goes out like a juvenile child going, I don't like your... He posts this on Twitter, on social media. I don't like your oil, Trump. You are going to end the human species with greed. This is the kind of virtue signalling claptrap that poor poverty-stricken Colombians need like a hole in the head. I am sick to death of these people who polish their halos from their lovely offices and their lovely domiciles where they live as the leader of countries, while their people starve to death, while they make virtue signalling noises about how much they don't like Donald Trump, so that all their left-wing mates go, oh, isn't he great, old Gustavo? Gustavo was utterly humiliated, and perhaps, Russell, this will give him the shot in the arm he needs to start thinking about his people and not about his image as a virtue signalling left-winger.
It's a bit odd, isn't it, for the president of Colombia, the cocaine capital of the world, to be talking and criticising greed. Now, I'm not suggesting that Gustavo Petro benefits from that particular trade, but his country is completely and utterly out of control when it comes to the production and the trafficking of said goods. Yes, you would think he would do something about that before he starts criticising oil. I think drugs tend to kill people a little bit quicker than a tank full of 4-star, don't you think?
Yeah, I know. It's just, the way these lefties want to grandstand to each other. Oh, look at me standing up to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a leader who's trying to make things easy for his people. He's trying to ease the cost of living, that hence getting rid of net zero. This guy, Gustavo Petro, it strikes me, he's one of those lefties who only cares about his own image, like Sadiq Khan. Can't say, oh, fascism, the rise of fascism. Never mind about that. What about the rise of people getting stabbed to death in your city, Khan? So he's one of these, isn't he, this guy Petro?
He is, and of course there's lots of them, but the good thing is, Kev, they're diminishing. So even in South America, of course, you have, Javier Milei, who is the rather fantastic, the wonderful centre-right president of Argentina, who has done, actually, as a precursor to Trump, all that Trump is now doing, but he's already done it. He's cut out multiple government departments, he has cut cost, cut waste, and now he is seeing GDP growth, so the size of the Argentinian economy growing. I think it's almost growing at the fastest rate of just about any other country in the world. I think 8%, as a consequence of those centre-right policies that Trump is now going to deploy. And again, just as an aide-memoire, the opposite of the economic policies that we here are deploying under hapless Rachel from accounts.
Yeah, 33% of the Colombian population live in official poverty. Great percentage of them struggle by, as I say, on just over $2 a day.
Crime through the roof, massive murder rate.
We don't want your oil, Trump. We don't want your oil. Well, maybe you should take it. Help your people out. We're sick to death of all of this. By the way, sort of still on this got sort of leaping into a different area here, but did you see this story? Again, virtue signal. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Everyone is sick of this nonsense. That police officers in Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire and Cambridgeshire have been told not to use terms like black sheep, blacklisted, in case they offend people. Also describing, this force describes gender as a social construct relating to behaviour and attitudes. There is a wider range of gender identities than just male and female. Not in America, there isn't. There isn't, is there? So what is this? What the hell is this? Is the police? So there is a wider range of gender identities than just male and female. How do you know? You're coppers, you're rozzers, you're not scientists, you're not doctors.
So every police authority has a police and crime commissioner at the helm, someone that's actually elected to make sure that they keep the chief constable in check, sign off the budget, and generally kind of make sure that policy and strategy and all that is going in the right direction. I don't know who the police and crime commissioner is for Bedfordshire Police and Hertfordshire and Cambridgeshire constabularies, but I suggest, and I don't know what their political flavour is, but I would suggest that either they leave and resign immediately, or indeed they, at least, if they don't know that this is happening, this is an operational thing, that they fire the chief constable of that authority. This is not only insulting, it's meaningless, and again, it's taking resource, it's costing money, no doubt, to put this nonsense together. How can you say gender is a social construct? As we've just rehearsed, it is biology. It is as simple as that.
But what is their expertise? They're coppers, they're rozzers, bobbies on the beat. Why do they think they can make pronunciations?
But the slippery slope of not... I mean, how can the police be an organisation that doesn't want to offend people?
Yeah, but,
they should be kicking doors in and nicking people, for goodness sake. They should be offending people on a daily basis, in my opinion.
What do they know? What do they know about? What do they know about gender identities? How do they know this? What's their expertise? Why are they saying this? It also says this is a 9-page document instructing the long-suffering officers in Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire and Cambridgeshire, you know, what to say. And you mustn't risk portraying certain groups as inferior or superior to others. Pregnant person should be used instead of references to pregnant women. Yeah. Why? Christian-centric language, like the term faith, should be avoided. What is this claptrap? Well, just go and catch the bad guys. Try that.
Yeah, at least there is some sense in that part of the world. So Festus Akinbusoyi, who was the UK's first black police and crime commissioner.
He says it's rubbish, doesn't he?
And he's the former PCC, the Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire Constabulary, has labelled the guidance utterly mad. Yeah. And so he should. But I'd love to know, if I'm going to look it up in a minute, to find out who the current PCC is, because this is, you know, we criticise the police, unfortunately, because we feel that we have to, because crime is increasing, particularly crime against the person, and serious crime, sexual offences, drug offences, assaults and so on. And of course, certainly where I live in Essex, the rate of detection has halved for some of those things. So I might just humbly suggest that rather than worrying about inoffensive language and, you know, rainbow police cars and dancing the Macarena at carnivals, we just think about solving crime. That's all police should be doing.
Go and catch the bad guys.
And preventing it in the first place.
We don't want PCs, we don't want woke coppers and all these chief constables who take their various constabularies down woke alley. I mean, you are destroying our police forces with your ludicrous politics that nobody wants to know about. So let me know what you think.